Before her success on television, Diane Guerrero was a young girl living in Boston. One day, while she was at school, her undocumented immigrant parents were taken from their home, detained, and later deported. Guerrero's life, which had been full of the support of a loving family, was turned upside down. Reflecting the experiences of millions of undocumented immigrant families in the United States, Guerrero's story, adapted from her adult memoir, In the Country We Love, is at once heartbreaking and hopeful. This is a preview of My Family Divided by Diane Guerrero, written with Erica Moroz. That bright spring day started off like any other. I know because I've replayed it in my head hundreds and hundreds of times, trying to make sense of it, trying to piece together what happened. "Diane, come eat your breakfast," came my mother's voice from the kitchen. I was shoving books in my bag, hustling to get out the door. "I gotta go," I yelled back because, let's face it, I had to'd. "You've got another second," she said, following me down the hall. "You need to eat something." "No, I don't have another second," I groaned. "Why do you always do this to me?" If there was one thing I disliked, it was being late, especially when I was heading to a school I loved, the Boston Arts Academy, or BAA. Before Mammy could say another word or even hug me goodbye, slam, I was out the door and off to class. It was nice out, around 70 degrees. After a frosty winter, the weather was improving, and so, it seemed, was my family's luck. The day before, against all odds, my dad had a winning Powerball ticket, a few $1,000, and for us, it was the jackpot. On top of that, the love was flowing again in our house. Our family bonds felt close. A sign, perhaps, that better times were coming. I peeped at my watch, mid-sprint across campus. 3 minutes until the bell. BAA, a performing arts high school in the heart of Boston, had truly become my home away from home. I could feel a prickle of energy as I approached. Even before 8 a.m., the place was buzzing. You know when cameras roll backstage on shows like America's Got Talent and The Voice? Well, that was the vibe, minus the cameras, of BAA. There'd be all these kids dancing around and stretching in the hallways. Next door, another group would be belting out songs or hanging their art up on the walls. The energy was epic, particularly right before Springfest, the one night our parents got to see us perform. It was the most special night of the year, and my song, a duet called The Last Night of the World from Miss Saigon, was part of the finale. My performance had to be better than good. It had to be Beyoncé style, flawless. Right on time, but a bit out of breath, I rounded the corner into humanities class. First, we had subjects like math and science, and then came the classes I lived for: theater, art, music. 9, 10, 11, noon. With each passing hour, I couldn't help noticing a weird feeling in the pit of my stomach, the kind you get when something isn't quite right. Maybe because I hadn't eaten breakfast. Maybe because I was nervous for the solo. Most likely, though, I figured it was because of how I'd treated my mom. I knew I needed to apologize. Springfest rehearsal came at the end of the school day. My teacher, Mr. Stewart, was already in the music room. So was Damien, the sweet black kid with a fro and glasses who was the other half of my duet. "You need to warm up?" Mr. Stewart asked me from his perch at the piano. As usual, he was wearing a tie, a dress shirt, and that big grin we all knew him for. I'm cool, I said, stashing my backpack in a chair and hurrying over to them. Mr. Stewart played the ballad's opening notes. Damien's part was first. In a place that won't let us feel, he sang softly, in a life where nothing seems real, I have found you. I have found you. Next was my verse. In a world that's moving too fast, I chimed in, a little off key. In a world where nothing can last, I will hold you. Mr. Stewart stopped playing. You sure you're okay, Diane? He asked. I shrugged, a little embarrassed. I'd been practicing this song in my bedroom mirror and in the shower for days. I knew it up and down. Just rusty, I told him. Let's try it again, Mr. Stewart said. I stood up tall and cleared my throat. Closing my eyes helped me concentrate. In a world that's moving too fast, I sang. In a world where nothing can last. I will hold you. I will hold you. I opened my eyelids long enough to see my teacher nod. Phew! All year I'd been trying to figure out whether this music thing was for me, whether I could really make it as a singer. And thanks to Mr. Stewart, I was starting to believe I had a shot. I couldn't wait for my family to see me perform. The anticipation made me giddy. On the way home from rehearsal, I stopped at Foot Locker. Earlier that morning, Pappy had generously given me a crisp $50 bill from his Powerball win. Buy yourself something nice, sweetheart, he told me. Anything you want. I'd had my eye on this pair of classic Adidas shell toes for weeks. Splurging on them was a no-brainer. I proudly handed the cashier that shiny $50 bill. You can wear them out of the store if you want, he said. I stuffed my old sneakers in my bag and headed off to the T, the Orange Line. It was 5:30, definitely time to head home for dinner. At 6:15, the train pulled into the Stony Brook station. I strolled across the platform, careful to keep my Adidas fresh. They were so dope. The sun was setting. I knew my parents would be wondering what time I'd get home. I should let them know I'm on my way, I thought. I spotted a payphone. Yes, payphones were still a thing. Dropped a quarter in and dialed. Ring, 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 ring. You've reached Maria, Hector, and Diane, said my mother's voice on the machine. We're not here right now. Please leave us a message. Beep. One of my parents was always home by this time. Always. Neither of them had mentioned having plans. Then again, I'd bolted from the house that morning, maybe before they'd had a chance to tell me. That seemed unlikely, though. Where could they be? With trembling hands, I threw off my backpack and checked the pockets for quarters. Bingo! I forced the coin into the slot and pressed hard on each digit. Ring, ring, ring. All at once, I jetted. I'd run these 3 blocks to our house dozens of times. I knew the route in my sleep. Let them be home, I prayed with every step. God, please, let them be there. 1 block, 1.5, 2 blocks. A girl on her scooter called out, Hey, Diane! But I was sprinting too fast to answer. When I made it onto our street, I saw my dad's Toyota station wagon in the driveway. Relief. They didn't hear the phone, I reassured myself. They've got to be here. I rushed up to our porch and held my breath, bracing myself for what I'd find on the other side of that door. And this has been a preview of My Family Divided.